All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, Coach. So you have been on the job as of the recording of this episode of Dog Talk. You've been on the job what? A month and
A month and 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So what's it been like since you started? Like obviously chaos, da 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 da. But I mean, when you think about the transition, did you ever think it was going to be the way that it's happened so far?
I mean, I had an idea.
Yeah.
The people of Ashville have been great. So, kind of the segue, the transition, has been smooth. Now there's a lot to get done. More, my head's spinning most days.
Yeah.
But I mean, I welcome it. So, we're trending in the right direction.
So when let's kind of roll back, I guess, a little bit. A lot of people, they know who you are, they know where you came from, coaching wise. But let's talk about childhood, family. Some of the things that I guess made you want to get into education, made you want to get into coaching. Start wherever you want to and just kind of lay it all out for us.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Pell City. Graduated in 2009. When I graduated high school, I was originally going into medicine.
Really?
My goal was to do anesthesiology.
There's a lot of money in that.
Yeah, I know, right? So, and I had set myself up to do that, and was taking those classes, and I was at church one night. We actually had a revival at my church back in Pell City, and there was a guy there who coached me in high school. He said, "Hey, looking for some volunteers to come out and help there. Middle school football in Pell City. If you have time, come out and help." And I jumped on it because I love the sport, right? So I went out and I helped, man. I fell in love with it. And I immediately changed my course of action. I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I volunteered at Pell City doing middle school football for 2-3 years for free. I was going to class and just working, coaching for free, man. And that's where it all got started. That's when I realized that I want to be in that position and have that impact on kids' lives, because it's somebody who's in it. Mm-hmm. They understand just the feeling and the gratification you get from just seeing a kid start from where he is, evolving into something more, or even kind of changing a kid's mindset where he doesn't think, or she doesn't think that she will ever amount to anything, and you kind of help mold them and change their way of thinking, and then they eventually end up achieving things that they never thought they could. So that's why I do it, and that's why I got into it.
So it's funny you bring that up. I didn't. I was kind of the same way. I didn't get into education thinking that I was ever gonna coach. I've been around sports my entire life, and then it's like I get back here because that was my goal. My goal was to get back here, make Asheville, do what I could to make Asheville great. And then basically out of necessity, it was like, hey, you've been around football.
Yeah.
We need you. We basically need you to coach. And I'm, okay, great. And then bam, it happens. And then what you're talking about, it's so hard to articulate to somebody that hasn't done it before or doesn't understand.
Sure.
And I think the next closest person to kind of get it is just the classroom teacher. Like there's some of that. It's a different way. It's a different kind of gratification when you see a kid that has been a discipline problem in the classroom, and then they graduate, and then they start a family, and they have a job and a career, and they're working towards something, and they're still going through they still have struggles.
Yeah.
But you can see that they're trying.
Yeah.
And it may or may not have started with you, but you knew or that you played a small role in that.
Yeah, you played a part in the process for sure.
And it's I don't know, man, there's something about like it just touches the heart in just this certain way.
Yeah.
So like when somebody tells you, like when one of your buddies, I guess, from high school or college, and they talk about, they're working in insurance or a sales job or something, they talk about how much money they're making or what they're about to, purchase or how they live. Do you ever have that moment where you're like, man, I love those kids, but my gosh, I'd really like to have a pontoon boat or a bass boat right now. You know, do you ever have those moments? And I'm not saying a funny way or a bad way, because
Right.
you know we all go through struggles where we question things sometimes. But do you ever have that moment where you're like, man, if I was doing that, I'd be making that kind of money too. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
do you ever have those thoughts?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's funny that you mentioned insurance. I actually got offered not too long ago a position where to start selling insurance.
Really?
Yeah, and you know they were going to get me set up, and you know it was going to be a pretty big deal. But you know, I tell everybody this is a labor of love, man. And if I love people, I love these kids, and I couldn't see myself I'd be doing myself a disservice, and ultimately I'd be doing God a disservice, because this is my ministry. I think I can impact more lives here than doing anything else. And you know, I do have some buddies that are on doing bigger things, and they're making a whole lot more money than I am. You know, and they give me a hard time because you know it is what it is. Like they're my boys or whatever. But you know, I just look at them and tell them, hey, I look forward to going to work every day. Do you?
Yeah.
You know, so I still look. I'm 32. I look 32. You're 32 and you look 52. So
Yeah. And you work, you know, 60, 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
Especially during football season.
yeah,
So, you know, talking about you just brought up God. You know, this is your ministry. You're obviously a devout Christian.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, how does that it's hard these days as a Christian myself. It's kind of hard sometimes to allow your faith to guide you in certain situations.
For sure.
You know, for instance, yesterday, I had a. Well, I'm not going to say specifically what happened, but you know what I'm talking about. And so, like, do you ever find that, you know, what you do as especially now, kind of as a head coach, as somebody that really has to make like tough decisions, do you ever find that making those tough decisions, is it ever hard to not reconnect with your faith, but make sure your faith is at the forefront, make sure that your faith is the lens through which you're looking to make that choice, make that decision? Do you ever struggle with that, or is it just an automatic kind of, no, this is how I think?
I think because, you know, it's my faith, but it's also something that I practice, right? So it becomes a little bit more natural to me. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I have my moments where I'll go on a tirade. I mean, nobody's perfect. And I'll have my moments where I go on my tirade, and I'll get super, super, super bitter about a situation, and you know, and I think about it like this, because this is my ministry, right? I don't want to put myself in a position where I do anything to kind of tarnish my ministry, because like we are in a unique position, because these kids are faced with so much daily.
It's tough.
And you never know when a kid's going to come up to you. I've had kids come up to me when I first started coaching, like just in tears. Coach, can you lead me to Christ? And I'm gonna tell you, like that's it for me. I don't have to win a state championship. I don't have to win. I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like having a kid come up to me and say, "Hey, coach, like God is really tugging on me.
Yeah.
Can you help lead me to Christ, or can you help me in the road to salvation?" Like that is great, and that is the goal of life for me.
Yeah.
Is to get these kids to see that there's more to life than just life itself.
Yeah.
You know, so and that's just kind of how I think. You know, and you know, you've been around me long enough now that you kind of see my personality. So I practice being even keel, so I don't get too I don't get too low, but I definitely don't get too high. It hadn't always been like that.
Really?
Yeah. I can get wound up. Like, you just wait till the season gets here. Like you wait till the season gets here, or you go ask my wife. Like, and the reason I practice that is, you know, again, because I don't want to put myself in a position where I kind of tarnish my ministry, and then also I want to make sure I build a relationship with these kids as well. You know, it's different from coaches who were here last year, and me coming in. I feel like definitely as a head coach, right? And especially trying to get more kids out, and keeping the kids out that we have out. It's important for me to build a relationship with them, which is why I haven't lost my cool yet. And it's coming. I mean, it's natural, right?
Well, it's interesting that you have like consciously thought about that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something a lot of coaches don't think about,
Right.
like myself, that just are idiots.
Right.
And so I'm calling myself an idiot.
You're not an idiot, man.
So, but no, like in all seriousness, I think it's interesting that you've thought about that, which kind of is leading into what I was going to ask you next. And I've really kind of been thinking about this, and I talked to the previous head coach about it too at one point. But is how you coach and behave, how percentage-wise, how much of that is a conscious decision by you to act a certain way, to take the program in a certain direction, or is it all just who you are and natural? Like, obviously, there's a little bit of both, right? But percentage-wise, how much of it is I've got to act this way? I've got to make sure I wake up and I not put on this mask, so to speak, but I control myself in this way so that I can get this response out of my kids,
right.
versus, okay, this is just what's going to happen. This is how it's going to be. This is it. Right. So what's the percentage there of conscious choice versus just natural who you are? Is it 50-50? Is it,
I think I would say if I had to put a numerical value on it, it'd be definitely 50-50. A lot of who I am outside of work or outside of here is what you get here. Like I'm a very easygoing person. It takes a lot to get me riled up. But I like to get to know people, and I think as a head coach, you kind of have to. There's a certain mindset you have to pull on, and this is something I'm learning because this is my first head job. But because there's so much to do and there's so much to get done, from planning, from a logistical standpoint, from getting kids here, make sure the kids are okay, from making sure the coaches are doing everything they're supposed to do. Like, you have to take on a different lens. You kind of have to take on. You kind of have to take on a CEO mentality, which is, I mean, basically that's what it is. I mean, you're running the program, and see, my personality, I don't want to be overbearing. Now, there's an expectation I set, set for it. Like, and I know you've picked up on this. Like, I'll tell y'all what I want, and y'all go do it. I'll give you the destination. What route you take to get there is up to y'all. Now, if I think we need to deviate a little bit, you and I'll talk about it. And I think that's my leadership style. And so thus far, it's worked okay.
It's always nice not to be micromanaged.
For sure.
That's always nice.
Yeah, and I've been in that position. And I've been I won't say that I've been under coaches who've micromanaged, but I've been under coaches who could care nothing. They could care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's not a good feeling either, right? So I kind of want to find the middle ground, and for the most part, I think I have. Now, it may be when push comes to shove, we're in a tight spot. It may be a little different, but I like how I operate now, and I think it's effective. And I've talked to coaches who've been head coaches, and I've talked to coaches who've talked to me, who've coached me, and I value their opinion. And that's the road they led me down. Like, don't overcoach your coaches.
Yeah.
Let them do their job. Just set the standard and let them get there. And
if you don't like what Coach Wilson's doing with his wide receivers, you just fire him.
Oh, no, you do too much. I ain't gonna fire you. I ain't gonna fire you.
No, man.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that because I hope I'm not calling anybody out, but I definitely have, and it may not necessarily be as a football coach, but I've definitely worked under some people where it's both situations where it's on either end of the spectrum. It's I could care less, and that's so disheartening because it's okay. You don't care about any of the hard work that I'm putting in to try to make this thing better.
For sure.
And then if something good happens, you're going to go and take the credit.
Yeah.
Okay, I see how it is.
Yeah, no.
Versus, too, on the other end of the spectrum, it's I want you to do it. This is the 83-step process I want you to follow.
Yeah.
There's no deviating from it because this is how I want to do it. I don't care how qualified you are to do it, and I don't care about your input because you're an idiot, and this is how I want you to do it. And so then at that point you just feel like a drone.
Yeah.
And so, the fact that you're consciously trying to, I know the kids can see that too.
Yeah.
That's something that they can see.
Yeah.
That the fact that you're consciously trying to straddle that line, I guess, and make that middle ground. As one of your assistant coaches, that makes me feel a lot better about what I'm doing every day because I have enough freedom to experiment and try and alternate and iterate and innovate. But also at the same time, I know, okay, if I'm doing something wrong, he's going to tell me.
Yeah.
Or if I'm doing something, if I could be doing it better, he's going to let me know, which has happened.
Yeah.
That's already happened, and it's reassuring.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, we are on the same team.
Yeah.
He does trust me, but at the same time, he's not going to let me make a complete fool of myself.
Right.
Now, how are you going to apply that same mentality to the athletic department? Because you're the athletic director.
Yeah.
So when you look at it from like an athletic director's perspective, how are you going to approach it the exact same way? Because then at that point, you're not coaching assistant coaches, or you're not in charge of assistant coaches. You're in charge of head coaches and other programs.
Yeah.
So do you approach that the same way in that chair?
Yeah, you have to approach it the same way. Now, as the AD, you put policies in place, and you set a standard. But at the end of the day, like, these coaches are head coaches for a reason, right? They can run a program. They wouldn't be in the position they are if they couldn't run a program. And essentially, I'm here to assist them and make sure they have everything they need to be successful. And that our kids can be successful. That's my goal as athletic director. It's not to, I know that, technically, like, I'm the boss, right?
Yeah.
But I look at it as I'm an assistant to, maybe that assistant's not the good word, but I'm just here to help.
You have to empower them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And however, and I tell everybody this, like, I want Ashville athletics to be a pillar. And and I think we have the tools to do that. But there's got to be, now there on that, like, there's going to be some changes, and there's got to be some changes, some things we're going to have to do differently. Now, in that aspect, I will have to put on the boss hat, and
this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah,
and, this is how
I tell them how we're going to do it, and it's going to be met with opposition. But in the end, I am the boss.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Well,
I'm joking.
you have. It's interesting. Okay, so that let's piggyback off that. Let's kind of talk about, like, you're the boss, right? So there's authority. But there's a difference between I think authority and respect.
Right.
So, like, when you say that, and I don't think you and I have ever actually had a conversation about leadership. But being the leader of, one of the programs on campus that sets the athletic tone, but also being the leader of all of the programs on campus, athletic programs, your leadership style and just leadership in general, that's a big part of your job.
Yeah.
And your job description. So what you were saying there, you're the boss. It's like, okay, are you definitely one of those? Are you one of those guys where it's like, okay, I got to pick my battles. Let me empower this coach here, but in this situation, it's a black and white. This is what's going to happen type of situation. When you approach that, you go ahead and finish your thought, but I just kind of want you to start thinking about it in terms of leadership. How do you think and operate as a leader, especially an athletic leader, in the context of high school athletics?
Yeah. No, as far as leadership goes, like I said, like, I'm not going to be one that's going to be over these coaches' shoulders. Essentially, I'm on, like, your receivers, like, that's your team, that's your program, right? And I'm going to essentially, approach it the same way with volleyball, basketball, baseball. Like, these coaches were hired to do it, and I'm going to trust them to do it. But they just, I just want to make sure that they know that I got their back if anything does come up, within reason.
Within reason, yeah.
But I think athletic director, like, you know, like I've coached everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if there's ever an instance where I need to go coach something, like I'm gonna be the best doggone assistant coach for that sport.
Mm-hmm.
And that coach is gonna be my head coach, right? And I just think that's the way I operate, because good leaders can follow as well. You have to be a good follower if you're gonna be a good leader one day. So, you know. What my approach is, I just want to make the program better, the athletic program as a whole, and that's that's my goal. Whether it's just strictly staying in the role of AD and kind of helping the coaches where I need to and making sure they got everything that they need to be successful, or whether it's, hey coach, we need some help at a game, or we need some help at practice, or something. That's my goal. I mean, in any way I can help any program is what I want to do.
Your head golf coach is, man, that guy's a piece of work.
Yeah, I heard that.
Spoiler alert, that's me for all those that are wondering. So, last season we had an interesting situation where, I had a girl qualify for sectionals, and I had two guys qualify for sectionals. It's the same day at the same time, two completely different golf courses, 35 miles apart. So I can't be there, and then both my assistant coaches are volunteers.
Right.
So I can't just send one assistant coach up there because they're not a school employee.
Well, as a perk of being athletic director,
that's you.
I get to go watch golf all day.
Hey, so how's that conversation going with Miss Ford? It's like, hey man, look, Miss Ford, I gotta be up here. We don't have anybody else that can go. I gotta take off. I gotta go. Is that kind of how you're?
Well, yeah. Knowing Miss Ford. Okay, I'm going with you.
Yeah, that's true. That's honestly because she did tell me that when she got hired. She's like, look, by the way, I've never been to a high school golf match, so I might be at one or two. I said, come on, let's go. And by the way, be looking for her. We'll have her at some point on Dog Talk as well. So shout out to Miss Ford, our new principal. Miss Leanne Ford. I'm looking forward to talking to her and sitting down and talking to her about the future and the hiring process for you.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that and see how that interview went. Well, I guess as much as she wants to talk about it, but how did the interview process go? Was that something you were nervous for, or was it easy for you? You're a people person, so
it was. I've interviewed for head jobs before.
Yeah.
I will say this though, like it's the first interview I've ever went into knowing that I was the first candidate.
Really?
Yeah, I knew I was the first one because Rusty St. John, who's the system athletic director, he called me and said, "Hey coach, we got an interview." I was at practice. I was still at Pell City at the time. I was at practice, so I missed the first call. I called them back a couple hours later. So of course they'd already scheduled some interviews. Mm-hmm. So when I called him back, he said, "All right, coach, we got one slot left open." And I forgot what morning it was, but I think it was maybe Thursday or Friday morning at 8 o'clock.
Woo!
8 o'clock. That means I'm first. So I've never been in that position. I was a little worried. I said, okay, well, I really got to do something to make a good impression. Obviously, I made a good enough impression where I got the nod.
You're here. You're on Dog Talk.
So I did something right. But, it was great. I'm not going to say that I like interviewing. I kind of do, because I do, man. I don't get it. And I'd have never 10 years ago. Like, you're getting more words out of me than I ever would have thought I would say in one sitting. I was
really?
And my wife will tell you now that I'm still a little introverted.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very sociable and I like talking to people. And I don't know.
You seem like genuinely interested in people when you talk to them.
I am.
Like, it's like, okay, I actually care about this person. Let me actually, like, because a lot of times, especially in the South, we have these conversations where it's like, oh, I'm having this conversation not because I want to have this conversation, but because it's the polite thing to do, and I'm going to end it as soon as I can so I can move on with my day. Yeah. But I feel like, at least from what I've seen from you and how you interact with people, that you do kind of genuinely care about people. Yeah. Now, you're not going to be the loudest person in the room in terms of like volume, but you're definitely going to work. Like, I've seen you work a room. You can work a room. When you interviewed, did you get any sleep the night before, or was it like, were you up all night, or did you sleep like a baby?
Honestly, I slept like a baby. I slept well. Was there? I wouldn't say. I wasn't nervous, but there was some anxiety, right? There was some build up. Like, you get the interview tomorrow, because like I've been wanting this job, and I've interviewed for three previous head jobs, 2 of which we play this year. So I'm pretty anxious on that. But I was just ready to get in the interview, and I think the committee saw my eagerness.
Yeah.
One of the committee members said he saw a hunger in me. I think they saw that, and I was able to portray
what you wanted to.
Yeah, what I wanted to, and get it across. So, I would say it's probably the best I've ever interviewed.
Really?
Yeah.
So you walked out of that thing, and you're like, man.
I felt really good about it when I walked out of it. And I had it laid out, dog. I had a PowerPoint presentation together.
Really?
I mean, it was about 15 to 20 slides long, and I had it detailed, right? Well, I got in the library.
No.
In education, right? In education, listen, I'm gonna get a shirt, and I'm gonna trademark it. Adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
Right. So I was just thinking the night before. This is how I got to bed late, because I had to go to the school and print off these packets. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get to the school tomorrow. Either the Wi-Fi's going to be down.
Something's going to be.
Or the projector's not going to work. Sure enough, the projector wasn't working. And they were, the committee, they were bent out of shape. They were like, oh, man, don't fret it. I pulled out my packets, and I passed them out one by one, and we went on that way. So,
and you know what's funny? Can I tell you a little story about that, too? Just a little side note. So I got a text at 7:35 or something from Huff saying, "Hey, we can't get this projector to turn on or to work. Yeah. Can you come down here and look at it?" And I didn't see the text because I was in the middle of workouts.
Yeah,
we were doing workouts at that point, and so I looked down at my phone. Probably, I don't know. We got done with workouts at, I think, 8, a little bit after 8, and got everybody out cleaning up, and I checked my phone at about 8:30, which would have been, I guess,
right in the middle
of your interview.
Right in the middle of the interview.
So the fact that you didn't have a projector is kind of my fault, because I didn't. I guess I didn't have the wherewithal to check my phone, but I mean, you saw me do work. I love conditioning, man. So I get really into it. But I apologize for the fact that you didn't have a projector. You can blame on me.
It kind of worked out for me. I think it comes so.
You came prepared, so it didn't matter. Yeah. You adapted and you overcame.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm gonna get us a shirt, and I'm gonna trademark those
Coach,
shirts.
I'll wear the fire out of that.
I know you will.
Coach, we need a whole line of shirts.
Yeah.
Crap coaches say.
Yeah, you're right.
Seriously, Jim Browning actually has he's got a little notebook of stuff that we can put on shirts. Just crap coaches say that you see another coach wearing a shirt, you're like, I get that. That's funny. But seriously, hey, you want to do that? We might just need to go ahead and promote it right now.
Yeah.
Check your local Walmart, folks.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
But so it went, you threw them out, threw the packets out, and the committee reacted well.
Yeah. And I took about 15 to 20 minutes to kind of lead them through the packet and what I thought, or my vision for Asheville football. Kind of gave them like a timeline of what I thought we could really start making some stuff happen. And then they went into a question segment, which took about 15 to 20 minutes. And then after the interview, this is when I really felt good about it. We had just a general conversation. And they were popping up other questions left and right, man, and we were just it turned into a dialogue rather than just talking back and forth of everybody's vision for the program. So, yeah, it was very cool. And the first time that ever happened in an interview.
I was about to say that. Has that ever happened to you before?
No. And not that I haven't felt good about other interviews, but it's just it was neat. You could tell they were really interested when that happened.
Now, what you talked about, you gave them your vision for the program.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said at the top of this interview, you've been on the job for 6-7 weeks now. Has that vision changed? And if it has, just go ahead and lay out your vision, and then tell us if it's changed from what you originally thought it needed to be.
So my original vision, is to get as many kids out as possible. There are 350 some odd kids, 9th through 12th here. I would like to have 20% of the student body playing football, and that's That's roughly 15 per grade. That'll give us 60 kids. I think 60 kids is a good number. I would like to definitely build enough depth to where every player is not playing both ways. Because we're in a tough region, right? And I think if we're ever gonna have the type of success that we want, like, we got to be able to build some depth on both sides of the ball, and we're able to keep players fresh. I believe I want to have some sustained success, right? It's got to start at the youth league and the middle school. I'm going to invest. Like, I was at youth league practice last week, and I told those coaches down there, like, I want them to come up here, and I want us to have, like, pretty much clinics with them, and where they can learn anything they want to know, whatever they want to know. Like, we're going to share with them, whether it's something we do or something that they're thinking about doing, and they need to know where to get started. Like, I want to be able to do that so they can better serve those kids. And then, as far as middle school goes, like, I really want to build that staff down there too, and kind of get that going in the right direction. Not that it hasn't. I know they've had some success down there relatively, but I kind of want to make sure that they are getting the instruction that I think they need. We got to have more coaches down there, right? So right
to
now
build on for varsity, yeah.
So, right now they got 3 coaches down. They have really on paper, they have 2 coaches.
Yeah.
That's
tough, man.
Well, one is 2 grades, right? And then there are roughly 3-4 positions per side of the ball. Mm-hmm. So we're just taking away from the kids, right? So, I'm going to send one of our JV coaches down there. He's going to be a designated junior high coach. But because our numbers are so low varsity-wise, right, this year we're going to kind of treat middle school like our JV, right? So the varsity coaches, we're going to coach those middle school kids. And, like, we'll run practice with them just like we run it with our kids. Mm-hmm. Now, they won't practice against each other.
Yeah.
I've already had to tell Mr. Taylor that, because to make sure he understands. No, I'm not going to put a 7th grader up against a senior.
Yeah.
Like, I got more sense than that. But I think it'll bode well for us going forward, because what we don't want to happen is when those kids get up here as a freshman, I think we'll be already ahead of the game because they know us.
Yeah.
Right? And we've been around them. They know us. They know what we expect. So there won't be that anxiety or that mystery, though. Like, they don't know what they're going to get when they get to us, right? And then we know they've had quality coaching. Not that those guys aren't like the junior high coaches, like, they're doing all they can. But I mean, if you got 30 kids for 2 people,
that's insane.
Yeah, it's not a recipe for success.
And that's like, I'm thinking about, how many receivers I've got, and I'm talking basically any guy that's going to catch the ball in space is pretty much what I'm talking. It's
right.
not just our wide outs.
Yeah.
It's the tight end when he's split out. Yeah. It's our guys in the backfield when they get lined up, or wherever they may be lined up on the field. If they've got to go catch a ball, and it's definitely a struggle sometimes, because they're technically 4 different positions there. And you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, because your 2 wideouts, the technique is similar, but it's really, when you talk about alignment and formation, this is play side formation to the play side, backside, whatever. It gets kind of complicated for those guys, and so you want to spend time with those guys, but you also have to coach these guys that are in the slot. You also have to help coach these guys in the backfield, if needed. And I can't imagine, Coach, coaching 8 more guys.
Yeah.
8 more guys at 2 to 3 more positions, and how difficult that must be.
Yeah.
So
hold on, let's add at 11 to 13 years old too.
Yeah, and that's just, it's like, man, you got to be a saint with the patience of somebody incredible, because I just knowing what I've done, especially so when Clint and I were helping coach O-line, guys, this has been 3 years ago, those young kids that were coming up to us, taking them and coaching them up while Coach Hawk worked with the varsity guys was invaluable. It was to be able to spend that time with those young guys, but to be on a staff where there's only 2 to 3 of you, and you got to coach 30 kids. Yeah. Coach, you're not getting to spend any quality time with any kid at any position.
No,
and so the development is hindered. Yeah. It's not that they're not getting good coaching. Right. It's just the amount of time they're being coached because there's not enough coaches.
Right.
That's tough, man.
Yeah.
So the fact that, that's how you want to work the middle school into the varsity, to ease that transition, that's
the because that's the foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
That's the foundation. If we don't build a strong foundation, we're never going to be. We may be successful, but we're not going to have that sustained success, right? And that's just how I think. And that and I've talked to other coaches, and I've given them my plan and my vision, and they said that's where you got to start, man. Like if you're going to a place like Ashville, right, is because we got a lot of homegrown kids, right? And you got to start your development's got to start down there. And at the youth leagues. So I went and watched youth practice last week. There's some talent. Yeah. We just got to be sure that we keep it in Asheville, and we got to develop it.
So as we wrap this thing up, where are we in 5 years? Where do you want to be, I guess?
In 5 years. Okay, I plan to contend for a playoff spot this year, right? 5 years, I plan on us being able to make a run.
A serious run.
Year in and year out now. Like
you said, sustained.
Yeah, it ain't just no Cinderella story. Like we're this thing's rolling in 5 years, and by the end we got the pieces in place to ensure that we can sustain it and keep it going.
Coach, I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you coming on Dog Talk.
It's been fun.
We want to shout out all our sponsors with the Asheville Sports Foundation. Obviously Mika Sita, Shaw's Barbecue, Union State Bank, and several others. We're gonna rotate in sponsors every single episode, but this episode we want to shout out those 3 and thank them because they support the Asheville Sports Foundation. They support all of our programs, and they do a really good job of being community stakeholders that are actively engaged in what we do. And it's not just money; it's they check in, calling about the kids. What do you need? How can we help? And they do a lot more than people could ever imagine. So it's supporting local business supports us. So. And if you want to donate, if anybody out there listening or watching wants to donate, go to AshevilleAthletics.com. Go find the Asheville Sports Foundation page. You can donate right there. There's actually a donate button in the menu. Click and donate. It'll help purchase food, apparel, and facility upgrades for our athletes, and it'll help us as coaches do what we need to do to develop our kids. And I know myself as a coach, you've talked about it in this episode. It's we want to make them better people. Sure. We want to impact their lives beyond just the sport that they play. Teach them how to be competitive. But I know myself, my wide receivers, my basketball players, my golfers. It's y'all are going to be better people by the time you leave me. And so that's. If you want to help us do that, go to AshevilleAthletics.com, donate to the Sports Foundation, or just send us an email. Let us know you can help out. We'll find a way to slot you in. But, Coach, I appreciate you sitting down with us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Had a good time.
Yeah,
had a good time.
Yeah, I'll do this again for sure.
Absolutely.